Hi everyone, so this is the first video of the 30 days challenge, and it's a challenge that I've never done before. I've never been in a monthly challenge, so it's something new, and even the first day has been so tough on me, and I am not sure how I'm gonna be physically capable of continuing on like this. But let's just see how I can improve my art, and maybe you guys can do the same. Maybe this is actually sustainable. And I've never seen an artist do the same thing, like specifically just being able to share it at the same time. Like I'm sharing it on YouTube and also on Instagram. So those two places that I'm sharing, they take a lot of time, especially YouTube. And the reason that I decided to do this in the first place was that for a few weeks I was about to do something, but I couldn't really do it. It's kind of a strange feeling that I had. I was in the preparation mode all the time. I was researching for it. I was doing all sorts of things, but not the action itself. Does that make sense? And I was procrastinating by telling myself that I'm reading and studying for this. I'm researching for it. I am preparing myself. But that was a form of procrastination. If I just went into the action mode, it would have taken me a lot less time and I would have actually done it by now. But I kept putting it off. I kept saying that I'm not ready. I kept saying that I need to gather more resources. And I was like, okay, Sarah, it's been about a few weeks, and if you had anything to present by now, you would have presented it. It's just about getting into the action zone and then trying to actually figure out what you don't know. Otherwise, you're not organized in the way that you research and you prepare yourself in a very disorganized manner. I was in that mode of just trying to make this work for me, but it wasn't working. The only thing that I could think of was pressure. I wanted to have this pressure upon my head to make this project possible and to go on and accept this challenge of going into the action mode so that I can train my action biased personality. So this is what I decided to do based on my situation. And I feel like so many of you guys might be dealing with the same thing, like not being able to actually jump into action and leave all the procrastination behind. Sometimes we have this productive procrastination that we do because we're terrified of committing ourselves to that action. But that is another form of it. Maybe it is productive, maybe it is good, but it's not the right thing at that time. And that's the problem, right? I have decided to improve my art and my character design, but I thought, no, I have to take one step at a time, and I have to, first of all, I have to get better at drawing poses and, perspective. And I was trying to talk myself out of this challenge. And I had some rules for this challenge, which was to study one artist per video and to have 5 different poses of an original character that I create from scratch, but it's inspired by those artists that I study. And in this video, I am trying to inspire myself from different set of artists. So like it's just not one artist. I said one artist just because I thought that I'm not gonna be able to have different inspirations at the same time. But my technique is that if I combine different style together, it's more likely that I'm gonna pick up some features that I love. And I do this even in regular practices that I do on a daily basis. It's not something new, it's something that I always do. I look at other artworks and try to dissect which part of it is that I am absolutely in love with, so that I can cultivate that exact feature in my own style as well. And it's not like I am copying them. It's so different because I am combining different parts of different styles, of different artworks, of different artists all together. And I'm like curating this beautiful style that I love so that I can do this consistently and I can have an art style that can represent my art even when I am drawing something that I've never drawn before. And that's because now I know what is my style. I've defined it to myself. I've been studying artists and I've been looking into my art and writing down what is it about my style that makes it look the way that it looks. And I write this down and I can just tell you what it is. I can tell you what sort of color combination I'm using in all of my drawings. I can tell you how I am drawing my lines and what sort of brush I'm using. And this is all because I've been paying so much attention to my style, but it's kind of intuitive the way way I got all of that. I did not actually try to factor in all of these things. It happened by me absorbing the work of other artists and looking at what sort of color they use, and like even me just going into the nature and trying to look at colors, or me trying to look at different types of outfits and make an attempt at matching different colors together. It's a very broad interest that also applies to art. It's something that you do naturally when you're looking at a picture. When you're looking at a photo, you are gravitated toward a certain type of colors, right? When you're watching a movie, for example, you know that the movie is so aesthetic, and you have to ask yourself why you think the movie is aesthetic. What sort of color is making you feel that way? And that's what I did. I wanted to know exactly what sort of color I want to make, and I want to find that color to use it in my drawing as well. Otherwise, I'm just going to be forever just admiring the view of that color and not being able to find that specific color and use it in my own drawings. So next time you're watching a movie, pause in every scene that you're interested in the visuals of and try to write down what you love about that scene. What is it like about the shadow that has been casted upon every object, like the way that it has been casted, or anything that might interest you at that moment. Just write it down, because like you don't know, maybe it's going to help you in the process of achieving that art style that you want. I mean, like, you might think that it's not related. You might think that it's only gonna help you if you're making a movie, but no. I actually learned from cinematic views. I've been trying to absorb every scene of the movie and try to look at everything in a, kind of like obsessive way, because when you're watching a movie and it's interesting to you, then that's good news, because you are developing some style in your interest. If you're indifferent to all the visuals that you see, that is a sign that you have not been paying so much attention to the coloring of every scenery and the way that the shadows and the light works. So maybe that is an assignment for you if you've never done this before. And for this challenge specifically, I've been trying to look for so many artworks in Pinterest, and I find Pinterest to be a very good place for me to find the specific scenery or a view, maybe out of a movie even, because you're not going to be able to, like watch movies all the time. You can have the shots of those scenes in picture form on Pinterest, and you can just use that as a reference. You can study that beautiful cinematic picture. So I would say, as an inspiration, I mostly just look at real life photos. I don't look at animations or how animes are made, or different characters of a comic book. I never been actually interested in those things. I feel weird to say that, because as an artist, I'm kind of expected to be interested in comic books and, mangas and all that. And yeah, I am interested in that, but mostly what I do when I pick up a comic book or a manga series, I mostly pay attention to the story of the whole thing. It's mostly about the way the storytelling works via the illustrations, not the picture themselves. Although I've seen mangas that are so beautiful, their design are just matching my idealistic style, and I love those ones. But not all of them matches my interest. The way I chose these artworks are quite different. I had different standard for each one. This piece, I specifically chose it because of the color and the shape of this artwork, because the color combination used in this style matches my style really well. You can see that these colors are having a bit of contrast, and that is making it quite interesting to look at. And as for these two artwork, I chose them because of the poses of each character. They were quite interesting. You can see that I have chosen the artwork from Luis, a very famous artist. But yeah, as you can see, the first challenge is officially over. The first day is over, and I've done the 5 poses of an original character that has been inspired by other artworks that I've studied. So that's out of the way. we're gonna be focusing on tomorrow. And I have to say this, okay? So the timing of my posting has been changed. I thought that I'm going to be able to post it at 10 a.m., but unfortunately, there's been a little bit of a delay in my schedule. So I am kind of like posting around 2 p.m. PST, and that's okay. But let me know what artist you want me to study for the next video, which is gonna be tomorrow. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you tomorrow. Stay creative.